Hi there everybody, it's really good to see you along here again, and today we've been doing some more stuff up in the loft. Progress is really coming along. I'm actually quite pleased at how quickly this layout is coming together, and it's going to reach a point where I can quite happily have the trains running by and just sort of dabble with bits and pieces, because no model railway is ever truly finished, but it's nice to get it to a point where you feel that you can kind of do things at whatever pace that you choose. But come with me and we'll have a look in the loft and you can see what I've been up to. Hi there everyone, welcome back to Weir Yard, and it's been quite a busy bank holiday weekend working on various things. You may have seen the update about the garden railway as well. Perfect weather, so I had to get that cleaned up. But what have I been up to up here? Well, the first thing that you'll probably be able to see is that I've got an awful lot of rolling stock in here. But what's that? What's the rolling stock sitting on? Well, it's an awful lot of ballasted track. Yeah, that's right. I quite like doing ballasting. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's my favourite task, but with the right materials and plenty of patience, and when I say right materials, I found that this product, I can certainly recommend it. It's £10 for 5 litres from The Range in the UK. I don't know if they have branches overseas, but it kind of looks like it's got a small child's school project look to that label. But it's just regular PVA glue. It's about the cheapest that I've found bulk buying it from regular shops. But that has worked flawlessly for doing the ballast. Now, what else have I been up to? Well, you can see over here that the grassed area has kind of expanded, and yeah, definitely doing very, very well. More ballasting there, and that skew bridge, we've got some filler going in just to finish off the embankments. That's still drying. It's taking a couple of days to actually dry completely. It is quite thick, and I added some brown poster paint type stuff. In fact, I'm looking around, and as is the way, I can't actually see the brown, but this is the same stuff. I've had it for quite a long time actually, but this I used diluted right down for mortar in plastic work, so things like bricks and stuff. So the bits and pieces of the bridge over there, the mortar in the stonework there, will get treated to that. But the brown I've had for quite some time. Never really got around to using it, but it was always intended to see what happened if you added it to the filler. So that's poly filler with what seemed to be quite a lot of the brown in, but it doesn't really seem to have made much difference. So, you know, it was an experiment, but doesn't really seem to have worked. Now, I've taken the opportunity to get an awful lot of rolling stock out of store. So, panning round here, and yeah, I've run out of space. Well, not quite run out of space, but certainly I ballasted the track and then immediately filled it with wagons and some coaches. We've got some very long trains on the 3 completed mainline tracks, but as you can see, it's an awful lot of wagons, and that is just a fraction of my collection. Yeah, I'm going to have to build some more hidden storage sidings, because the ones that I built down underneath here are also full. So 5 quite long sidings in there, completely stuffed full of stock, and still got drawers full of stock, still got display cabinets downstairs. It has made a dent in the collection that was dotted around the house, but not as much as I thought, actually. So, I mean, there still are sidings to go in, but not really all that many. I mean, what you see here is the bulk of the marshalling yard. When the glue down here sets, I've only just done that, so that is still wet there. Yeah, not really much space there, and it kind of blocks the yard. You can't use it for shunting when it's full of stuff. Anyway, this here, you might remember this from one of my box opening and reviews. It's the Oxford Rail signal cabin, and that's going to become Weir Yard number 1. So this is the signal box that trains coming in from the north end. North and south don't really mean anything up here because it's actually a big circle. But taking my cue from Tyne Yard, this will be the north end. So that would be Weir Yard number 1, controlling this end of the yard. Then also somewhere over there is going to be a very small signal box, which will be Weir Yard number 2, and that will control access to the incline up to the top of the hump. And then the control tower, the hump control tower, will be there, but of course that's not really a signal box. So we're going to have Weir Yard number 3 over where that squeezy glue bottle is. And Weir Yard number 2 and number 3 currently exist out in the shed on Bolton Trinity Road. So when projects are finished out there, they will be stripped out, and I will bring them in here, and they'll get a whole new lease of life. So yeah, it feels like I've done an awful lot. I don't think I've filmed an awful lot, though surely when Zoe puts together videos and stuff, it might actually be that there is quite a lot of footage that I did that got into the last video. So I lose track. I just model. I just make things. I do the creative stuff. I let other people do all of the techno stuff. What else have I been up to? Well, mustn't forget all of the hidden stuff that goes on underneath. So, oh look, little rat's nest down here. And what I've been doing is, first things first, with the ballasting, you have to do all of the droppers to make sure that all the tracks get a good feed. So all the droppers have been put in for the yard section. So all of this has had droppers put in. I've done them over there as well. In that area, droppers were put in. And I've also started work on wiring up all these points, which, again, I don't really mind wiring too much. So let's just see. It's 1, 2. There. Oh, bit of a spark there. It's just sort of probably as well to do this a few times just to clear any of the stray grains in. Now, as you can see there, those 2 points are ganged together. The reason for this is that otherwise I'll run out of switches. Now, this there. So that's there. There's going to be more track work down here. So there'll be another point slave to that, because the pair, there'll be like a head shunt up here, and that's the lead on into wagon repair depot and the motive power depot. And then let's see now. And I did have a switch on here. This one at the end proved to be defective, and the way it was defective, it would switch going that way, but when you switched it the other way, it remained in contact all the time. So all it was doing was draining the CDU, and the point never actually flicked. So I've had to abandon that switch, and then moved on to next switch along, that one, which is currently only switching that one over there, but this one at the front here will also be slaved. So there'll be a pair again to save on point levers. And it's quite all right to pair them like that, because they're not going to conflict with each other when shunting in the yard. I mean, it's really only going to be just me up here, mostly. So it's not like shunting trains is going to be a big deal for me. I'm not really into that. The whole purpose of Weir Yard is really to have a scenic fiddle yard. So just have all these trains, all the stuff in the sidings. I love it. It's just nice to see what I've got. I've always been a firm advocate of the fact that, what's the point in owning stuff if you never get to see it? And this, at least, is now giving me a chance to see a lot of my collection. Although what's clear is all those coaches you see at the back there, it's all my blue-grey coaches. Somewhere floating about on this line, somewhere right over in that corner, are all of my Southern Region green coaches. But this is only about half of my Blood and Custard coaches. I've then got LNER rolling stock, I've got Great Western rolling stock, I've got LMS rolling stock in terms of coaching stock this is. Although all of my pre-nationalisation stock is not out here, all of my private owner wagons are not out here. There is so much that I have got. I think there's I counted about 250 wagons in these sidings, and I've probably got at least as many again. Don't tell Zoe, because I've got, they just accumulate. Although I've been very good today. When I was shopping, I had some royalty money sat in my PayPal account. It had come from America, so it was in US dollars. I've done quite well actually with that, because I got paid a few weeks ago, and then the pound sank against the dollar, so my money just became worth more. But I spent that at Hatton's. Other retailers are available. But the reason I spent it there was because A, they take PayPal, and it saved a lot of faffing about, and B, they had a whole load of stuff that I fancied. So one of those is a turntable. Yes, I measured up, and with a bit of jiggery-pokery and moving one of the cross members underneath, which I can do, well, is moving one end of it and bracing stuff, and just move that glue out of the way. This area here is going to have the turntable, so I've got to cut a hole. I've measured out, I know where the cross members are, you can see them marked out there, so I knew where I was putting the screws in. Unfortunately, there's a cross member, an extra one I put in across here, that is in the way. But if I put a new screw up there to secure it and put some pieces across and brace it and work something out and a bit of magic and pull some levers and press some knobs, I'm going to be able to get the Pico, I think it's like LK55 kit. I'll be able to cut out the hole and sink it in there, and I think that's going to look great. So that will then mean that there may be a few short spurs off the turntable here that I can put locomotives on, and then I will have a shed here. At least eventually that's the plan, but what I may actually end up doing is just have a huge hard standing area, and locomotives will sit there, and then eventually I'll add a shed. And yeah, I think that's going to be pretty good actually. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully the turntable should be here by next week, and that might just be my big project, putting the turntable in. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure you all are too. So anyway, I'm going to round it off for this video. I can see there I've been talking for 12 minutes. I'm going to linger on this area. It's like I've said before, you get a focus where you're starting to do scenic work, and you start to get really pleased with what you're doing, and it motivates you to keep going. So you can kind of stop, relax, and admire the bit that you've done. And one thing I found is having the trains running. I quite like it because I have a train that comes around on that line at the back and goes underneath this bridge, and I really like the look of it as it's going through. It's at the moment it's a class 44 with a rake of Blood and Custard coaches, and it looks so nice when it runs through there. I've not normally been one for topography. A lot of my models are built with maybe a little bit of a suggestion of hills at the side, but generally just completely flat, with a lot of visual ruses in order to make it look like there is topography when actually there isn't. But with this layout, there is a degree of up and down, and actually I'm really pleased with it. I'm really liking the effect that I've managed to get. I've also got a static grass puffer bottle, and I know a lot of people have said over the years, oh, they're rubbish, get yourself a proper static grass applicator. But, small steps, start somewhere, and I'm going to give it a go, actually, and some of this grassed area, I can build up on that. I've also been thinking about here, putting in some kind of a vegetable plot, almost as if the people that work in the tower spend their breaks growing vegetables, a little perk of the job or something. A lot of signal boxes did have a little vegetable garden nearby, which the signalman would tend lovingly, and it was, again, one of the little perks of the job. You never see that anymore in the modern society that we live in. I'm sure management would come down on that. My God, you can't be having fun on the job. It's supposed to be work. It's supposed to be horrible. So, yeah, there's still an awful lot to do, but certainly it does feel like I'm breaking the back of things. And when I start dismantling the shed layout, there's going to be an awful lot more materials there'll be a sudden influx of stuff, especially track, which will then mean that I can actually really motor on up here, and that's the plan. Anyway, well, thanks for coming along with me for the trip up into the loft to see the progress of what I've been up to. But until next time, you take really good care of yourself, and perhaps I'll see you back here again. It'll be really good to see you back, to see how the progress develops, and it will do. We've got so much going on up there. I'm really pleased with how it's coming together. But don't forget to tell me in the comments just how your model railways are coming along, because I'd love to hear from you. And I'd also love to hear from you if you've taken on board maybe some of the techniques that I've been using and made them work for yourself. And conversely, if you've got some ideas for how to do some of the tasks that you can see that I've got coming up, then don't forget you can add suggestions in the comments, and I love reading through those. And hopefully see you here next time. But until then, you take really good care of yourself. This is me, Jenny Kirk, saying bye for now. Today's video has been brought to you in part thanks to the generous donation of my fans on Patreon. And a huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Mark Anthony, Michael Churchwood, Bob Threeton, Alec Ralph, Anthony Hunt, William Wade, Wayne Johns, and Offshore Alan. If you'd like to help support the show, head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk. Thank you. Today's video has been brought to you by my books, Bringing Home the Stars, Twinkle Little Star, and also you can get the complete comic collections of All Over the House, Books 1, Books 2, and also the wacky zany Life of Knobty Mouse. Thanks, and catch you later.